Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday celebration service of the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living on this beautiful Mother's Day here in Cary, North Carolina. My name is Carol Cross, and I'm one of the practitioners at the center. And it is my honor and privilege to do today's meditation. And I know this was meant to be because I had planned a different meditation, but the universe gave me several strong messages about what I should be talking about today. And so, Spirit rules. So, we can thank Spirit for the inspiration for this. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is the spiritual activity of mothering. So, this is Mother's Day, and Mother's Day is usually focused on your biological parents or such. But a wise 6-year-old once told me, Mom, I need more than just one mom. And I thought that was such a wise thing to know at a young age, because we all need that mothering energy in our lives. And Oprah Winfrey said, biology is the least of what makes someone a mother. And while I don't want to downplay the part, because it's one of the most unselfish things that people do, is they allow one or more aliens to kidnap their body for, 9-10 months. And but we all know that there are people who bring children into this world, but that don't have that mothering energy to raise them. And that certainly was true of Oprah's mother. She had a very tense relationship with her mother. And but Oprah, I think, personifies this mothering energy that does not relate it at all to having children, which was her choice. And I think just, her calling was on a different path. But how many millions of us feel like we've been mothered by Oprah? Between her television shows and her live activities and her writings and her artistic things and her work with the school in South Africa, to allow middle school girls an opportunity for a leadership experience in, a country that doesn't have a lot. So when I think about this mothering energy, I think number one, first, is somebody who really sees you as you are, who doesn't see you through all the lenses that we can have about, position or gender or race or age or anything, but really sees who you are. And number two is accepting that, accepting what is true about you. I think number three is somebody who embraces you, not necessarily physically, but supports you and cares for you and believes in you. And another part of it is that they do that without looking for a quid pro quo or some direct benefit for themselves. And so that kind of energy, you don't need to be a woman, you don't need to be a man, you don't need to be an adult, you don't even have to be human. Because I know lots of us have pets that have mothered us at times. And, certainly my son has mothered me at times, and I mothered my own mother. So, with that as the sort of background, I invite you to close your eyes and take a few of those deep belly breaths, making sure to exhale all the old air inside. And so There are a couple of questions that I would ask you to reflect on. And that is, who has provided that mothering energy to you at different stages of your life? And have you ever acknowledged them for that? If not, this week might be a good week to do so. And if they've already made their transition, that's okay. Intention and it transcends the boundaries between this life and the other. But think also of the people that you have provided mothering energy to. And have you acknowledged that to yourself? If not, then do so. And finally, consider about how good are you about mothering yourself? Is that something that maybe you could put some more energy into? And there's one more, and do you notice somebody in your life that could use some of your mothering energy now that you have not been attending to, perhaps? And if so, again, it's all a choice, but maybe you could consider that. So with those questions, we're going to go into some music, and we'll be back again in a few minutes. very meaningful meditation for me, at least. Um, I feel in this moment very blessed and very grateful for how many people I have had throughout my entire life, providing that mothering energy to me. And, I thought of a couple of men who did that. And so I think I'm going to send them a message on Mother's Day because they should know that they are included in today's celebration. So I hope that the same sorts of things occurred to you. I also found a couple of people that I could be doing more in mothering. And it really feels to me like this is what's really needed in our country right now is less conflict and more mothering. I have a quote here by a woman named Cary L. Dew. And Cary L. Dew was the first unmarried woman who became a general officer in the Church of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so she was another person, I don't know her, but her role was to be mothering an entire church without ever having had children herself. And she said in a talk called, Are We Not All Mothers? She said, if we really want to make a difference, it will happen as we mother those we have born and those we are willing to bear with. And so it is. So if you are looking for more inspiration on this topic, I will recommend a movie to you called The Sheep Detectives. And the trailer makes it look like it's a comedy, and there's a lot of funny stuff in it. But there is a lot of deep spiritual themes in it as well, so which I found really moving. And a wonderful example of the essence of mothering energy, delivered in the form of Hugh Jackman. So you don't want to miss that. So if you don't already have plans for your mother or mothering people in your lives, take them to that movie. That's a great way to say thank you. So same thing, thank you. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And we have a few minutes until our main event starts at 10:15. So go take care of yourself. Go mother yourself for a few minutes, and then we'll see you back here soon. Thank you so much. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. And whether you have chosen to join us here in the sanctuary this morning or you have invited us into the comfort of your own homes through live streaming, we're very glad that you are with us today. Very blessed by that. For those of you who name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor of being this community's spiritual director. Our center, the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, is part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. And Centers for Spiritual Living is a practical and positive philosophy, faith, and way of life, a global community of over 450 spiritual centers, teaching chapters, and special focus ministries in 30 countries worldwide. Our community is the spiritual home for a diverse group of people who are seeking a deep and abiding connection with each other and with the God of their understanding. We are a powerful spiritual community, lovingly committed to a world of acceptance, compassion, peace, and joy. We gather together to express love, celebrate life, grow spiritually, practice radical acceptance and inclusion, and connect with one another. What we are really about is providing a supportive community where we can explore our own spiritual path and connect to the divinity within us. Formally, our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God. We do this within a sacred and supportive community that welcomes everyone just as they are. Our mission is the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. We do this through celebration, service, study, fellowship, and the energy of unconditional love. Our vision is a world that actually does work for all. We do this by consciously practicing the truth of our oneness and unity with God in our everyday lives. No matter where you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. Our flower dedication today is for Mother's Day, of course. So please take a look at this video. Thank you for your patience. So maybe I'll just say while she's working on that is today we gather to celebrate more than a holiday. We celebrate the people whose love often shapes our very first understanding of kindness, sacrifice, strength, and care. Mother's Day is a moment to recognize the countless ways that mothers and mother figures support, guide, and inspire us throughout our lives. A mother's work is often quiet but powerful, found in sleepless nights, words of encouragement, difficult sacrifices, and unwavering belief in those they love. Across cultures and generations, mothers have been teachers, protectors, caregivers, and sources of resilience during life's most uncertain moments. Today is also an opportunity to honor not only biological mothers, but all those who nurture and uplift others with compassion and dedication, grandmothers, guardians, mentors, single fathers, gay couples, and caregivers whose presence leaves a lasting impact on our communities and on our lives. As we celebrate today, let us express gratitude not only through words, but through appreciation, respect, and recognition for the love and strength that mothers give so freely every single day. Evan Hodgkins, the School of Alchemy, says the quality of God that gives of itself, nurtures life, and holds everything together is pure love, unconditional love. And the model we've been given for this way of loving and living is motherhood. The only thing that gives us a chance to love as God loves is the fact that the feminine is within us, all of us. This is the magic of motherhood, of the Divine Mother. That's why they call it the Divine Feminine, Divine Motherhood. A mother's love is so complete, so nourishing, it can only be God loving through them. Happy Mother's Day to all who have powerfully stepped into that space and place of unconditional love. We are grateful for each and every single one of you.
Mama, forever across the earth, across the sea, from every people, every land, we rise in love, in joy, and peace. You are the head that held us gently. You are the voice that called our name. You are the heart that kept on giving through every season, through joy and pain. You lit the path when hope was distant. You stood with strength when days were long. You gave us courage, grace, and kindness. You taught our hearts to still feel strong. Today we lift our gratitude, sacrifice and praise. For every mother's love is long, gifts of heaven everywhere. We celebrate from every nation and every tribe, Mama. We honor you, your love is filled our life, Mama. We celebrate with thankful hearts and joyful praise, Mama. We lift up your name now, you love you more than words can say. In every home, every culture, mother's love still speaks the same. Nothing is deeper than all Lord. Sacred fire, endless faith. Every lesson, for every tear you wipe away. For every dream you guide and makes me rise to thank you, homeless days. So today we lift our gratitude, sacrifice and prayer for every mother's love among us, heaven everywhere. From every nation and every Mama, we honor you, love is filled our lives, Mama. We celebrate you, make our hearts and joys, Mama. We lift up your name now, love you more than words can say. Madre querida, te honramos, tu amor nos da valor. Amor chéri, ton grand amour partout. Mãe querida, nós celebramos com alegria. Te exaltamos, one love, one soul, one family. From every nation, every tribe, Mama, we honor you. Your love is filled up, love you more than words can say. To every mother, in every land, in every language, in every heart, we bless you, we honor you, celebrate you.
Ha. We celebrate you. Happy Mother's Day. So, a quick announcement from me. We have found a space. We've been looking and looking and looking, and we have found a space that we have some dates for over the summer. We have one date in June, Sunday, June 14th, 2 in July, the 5th and the 19th, and 2 in August, August 2nd and August 9th. The space is the Powell Drive Neighborhood Center at 740 Powell Drive in Raleigh. It holds about 75 people and has a warming kitchen. There is no storage, and we have to set out all of the chairs and tables, so different than at the hotel. We have more things that we need to do. So while it's a great opportunity for us to gather together as a community, it's also a great opportunity for each one of us to step into a little bit of sacred service. It's also a spiritual practice, and so the invitation today in this moment is for people to sign up. That's now there are 5 dates that we would need somebody to be willing to come early. So Heather and I typically get here around 8 o'clock, but if we had more people to help us, we'd probably could scoot that to about 8:30. But we always have a plethora of people to help at the end, and I'm so grateful and so appreciative of that. But we also need a little bit of assistance at the beginning, because we have to carry everything in from the car, and then we have to set it up, and we have to set out the chairs and do really everything. So we do have sign-up sheets, or you could write to Heather at info@trianglecsl.org and sign up for a date. I mean, if everybody chose one date or 2 dates throughout the summer, we'd have everything covered. And it would really make it much easier for us to be able to get everything up and running and prepared before the meditation begins. Thank you ahead of time for your willingness to participate in some sacred service, and to know that it's really allowing our community to come together in so many really wonderful ways. And now, please welcome our beloved Amy Ludwell with a few other announcements.
Oh, great, 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 great. It is always wonderful to be here. I want to say happy Mother's Day to everyone. This year is special for me because this is the first year that I am without my mom on Mother's Day. And I couldn't think of a better place for me to be than surrounded with people who love me and who care about me. And as Carol said, who have mothered me while I've been here. So I'm so thankful and so grateful to be here. But it's not about me. It's about these announcements. So let me move forward. So the announcements we have for today, in the upcoming services in this moment, the last 3 Sundays in May, May 17th, May 24th, and May 31st, will be online only, okay? If and when that changes, we will absolutely let everyone know as soon as possible. But until then, we will continue to do what we do and bring forward deep and thoughtful messages and music each Sunday via StreamYard. As always, the meditation is at 9:45 and services at 10:15. And don't miss the meditations. They are so powerful and deep, or the services. But the meditations is a great way to start your day. As Reverend Dusty reported just a few moments ago, we will begin to move into a new space, yay, on Sunday, June 14th, Sunday, July 5th and 19th, and Sunday, August 2nd and the 9th. We have reached out to Powell Drive Community Center about more days moving forward throughout the year. So we'll keep you informed of that. Today, following service, from 3 to 5 p.m., we will once again facilitate a TCSL Wise Woman Tea. And I don't know if you've ever been to this event, but it's amazing. It's amazing. The event is for women of all ages who would love, and we would, love to hear, but who would love to share their wisdom with each other. There will be tea, small bites, fruit, cheese, and chocolate. Chocolate. The invitation, I love chocolate if you didn't realize that. That's like my favorite thing. So I just emphasized the chocolate. But there are other things available, but chocolate will be part of the conversation, the afternoon event, chocolate. The invitation for those women that are in the sanctuary in this moment is to celebrate Mother's Day by having brunch with your family and then come back here for the Wise Woman Tea. If you are home, consider joining us later this afternoon, which I do know there are going to be a few people show up who are at home watching, and I can't wait to see you when you arrive. I'm not going to call your name, but you know who I'm talking about. If you are home, and I did say that, please, again, consider coming this afternoon. Don't let that stop you, okay? There will be plenty of time for you to join us. The event, again, will be held from 3 to 5 p.m. So come to church, have brunch with your family, and come back to join us at 3. The event will be held here at the Edge Hill Farms Community Center at 391 Spring Fork Drive in Cary, North Carolina. And my last announcement, as we continue to announce our 2026 Wednesday evening services, they have changed, okay? And maybe you've noticed just a little. They do, however, continue to be midweek spiritual pick-me-ups. And I don't know if you've been reading or if you've signed up for them, but they are amazing. The new concept is called A Year of Value. It is a journaling, self-study program in which you receive a quality each week on a Wednesday by email, along with all kinds of resources to grow that quality in your life. By focusing on many different aspects of leading an exemplary life, we believe it supports participants in making 2026 truly a year of value. To sign up, send an email to info@trianglecsl.org indicating your desire to participate. So before moving on, I would definitely like to thank Carol Cross for her beautiful meditation this morning. It was absolutely exquisite. So thank you so much, Miss Carol. And now, please welcome her back to the stage. She's excited to come back. Come on, Miss Carol.
So thank you so much, everyone. It is a glorious morning, and I'm so happy to be here with my TCSL family. So, including those of you all who are on the other side of the camp. So, The theme for the year 2026 is open at the top. Our theme for the month of May is divine doubt. And Reverend Dusty's message is self-doubt as the starting block. So that sounds intriguing. To get us ready for the message, we're going to start with our sacred service, the blessing of all people. And I asked Rebecca Fout to come up and assist me with that. The Center for Spiritual Living honors both the truth that we are all created by God out of the same God stuff, and that there is a multiplicity of divine emanations, each individualized and unique in their own way, as represented by this ceremony. Whether this is your first time with us, or your 1,000th time, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you're in the room physically or participating via technology or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether your soul is full of joy and possibility, or your heart is heavy and your mind is consumed with troubles or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are brand new to the science of mind philosophy, or you've practiced it for a long time, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether your skin, eye, and hair color are a rich, dark shade, or you're the palest color, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are a straight, cisgender man or woman, or you identify with the LGBTQ plus community, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether your politics tend towards the red side or towards the blue side or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you were born and raised in this country or came here from a different land or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are married or single or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are in the first third of your life, the third third of your life, or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you feel your connection with God is the driving force in your life, or you aren't even sure that you even believe in God, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Each and every color is beautiful, unique, and significant. They all combine together into an amazing whole. Thank you all for contributing your special vibration to today's service and to life itself. And so it is. Thank you, Rebecca. All right, so now I'm going to do a blessing on today's service. So I invite you to close your eyes. Breathe in. And what's coming into my head is the Lion King song about can't you feel the love tonight, except it's today. And it reminds me that Rumi says, we are born of love. Love is our mother. And so Mother's Day is really a celebration for all of us because we're all either mothers or children, right? Partners and family. And it just is a reminder that it's all love. That's who and what each and every one of us are at our very core. And sometimes we're not so good at manifesting that in our physical incarnation. But that is the truth of who and what we are. And it's not just love. We are also power and beauty and joy and abundance and peace. And so we claim all of those attributes today. that this is who we are bringing to today's service, which will make today's event a miraculous event. So I say a word of blessing and a word of gratitude to all the volunteers who help behind the scenes. Our ongoing, absolute, veneration of Heather, who is running our AV to make sure that our message can be broadcast as widely as possible, on top of everything else that she does for us. I say a word of gratitude and blessing for Karen Daly, who opens a window between our heart and our soul and our divine wisdom. Say a word of blessing and gratitude on Reverend Dusty as she becomes the voice of God, speaking the truth in a way that we can really not just understand it, not just hear it, but to feel it and to live it, because that's the point of all of this. And I say a word of blessing to everyone who is participating in today's service, because it is a collective event. And like this ceremony, the energy that you bring to today's event lifts us all up. Every one of us is important. And that includes those who may be watching this in the future, because there's no time in the divine. So, that said, I know today is going to be a great service, and I ask you to exclaim that with me through our words, and so it is. All right, so the reading today is from Lydia Joy Lazar Ayers, and she says, God in the Bible, and as quoted by Ernest Holmes, tells us over and over not to be afraid. God does not, however, tell us not to doubt. While Holmes does emphasize the importance of casting out doubt in spiritual mind treatment, he also does not tell us that doubt is wrong or inappropriate. In many ways, doubt is an appropriate response to a confusing world. By sharing our full selves, doubt included, we create communities that uplift and hold one another in all of our human reality. These communities then provide the answer to doubts, not certainty, but active participation in the work of faith. And so it is. So, although we're celebrating doubt today, I have no doubt that our performer, Karen Daly, is going to do a fantastic job opening us up for the message. So thank you so much, Karen Daly.
Mother's Day, everybody. It's great to see all your faces. This is a little sweet song called Only Grace by Matthew West. There is no guilt here. There is no shame. No pointing fingers. There is no blame. What happened yesterday has disappeared. The dirt is washed away, and now it's clear. There's only grace, there's only love, there's only mercy, and believe me, it's enough. The past is gone without a trace. There's nothing left now. There's only grace. You're starting over now under the sun.
You're stepping forward now. Your new life has begun. Your new life has begun, and there's only grace, there's only love, there's only mercy, and believe me, it's enough. The past is gone without a trace. There's nothing left now. There's only grace. And if you should fall again, get back up, get back up. Reach out and take a hand. Get back up, get back up, get back up again. Get back up, 'cause there's only grace, there's only love, there's only mercy, and believe me, it's enough. The past is gone without a trace. There's nothing left now. There's only grace.
It's only grace. Thank you.
Sung. Thank you so very much. Let's give her a little love. So, welcome to those of you who may have just walked into the sanctuary or turned on your televisions or computers at home. As Carol stated earlier, the theme for the month of May is divine doubt. And last week, Brother Brian was here, and he talked about sitting at the feet of his guru and having all doubt just disappear. Yeah, good for him. That's awesome. That is really, really awesome. And it's something that we can, right, aspire to. It's that living life from the level 3 and level 4, through me and as me, rather than, being like all the rest of us that are still just trying to put one foot ahead of the other and not ready to renounce everything and put everything we own into a Prius and drive around the country, which is awesome. He's raising lives as he does, and he raised ours here. But today we are talking about doubt. We are talking about it and its importance, actually. The CSL Theme Committee says doubt is not a flaw to be hidden away, but a natural part of the range of human thought and emotion. Each one of us, in our own ways, wrestles with questions, uncertainty, and the longing to understand. Rather than covering up our doubts with a polished facade of certainty, we are invited to lean into them as places of vulnerability, honesty, and authenticity. I love that. Sounds great. Spiritually speaking, doubt isn't just tolerated, as they implied in that quote. It often plays a sacred and catalytic role. It does this by disrupting what is so rigid so that something deeper and more honest can really emerge. In many traditions, doubt burns away what is second-hand or inherited. In Buddhism, for example, practitioners are really encouraged to question the teachings and to test them in their everyday experiences. Our own founder, Ernest Holmes, was known to have said, "Don't just blindly follow what I say, but to actually engage in the principles and the practices and really demonstrate them in your own life. Now, in this sense, then doubt begins to act kind of like an inner fire. It exposes what's false, it really refines what is true, and it strips away any belief that we might have that has not yet been fully integrated. So some of those things that, we're just not really too sure about, but that have been handed down culturally or familiarly throughout the years into something that, we're just perhaps think that we should just take on. But there's that little doubt. In Hinduism, doubt can be the force that drives inquiry into the nature of self. In Christianity, figures that wrestle with doubt often arrive at a more personal, lived faith. The idea of divine doubt really deepens our awareness rather than shutting it down. It is a kind of doubt that pushes us to look deeper rather than to just walk away. It assists us to distinguish the truth from illusions, and it keeps our beliefs alive and flexible and evolving. It's actually part of our spiritual path, something that strengthens our faith, that allows us to be more grounded and resilient. So doubt is often that tension that leads to greater insight, or that actually leads to transformation. The key is not to eliminate doubt, but to engage with it skillfully. When doubt arises, the invitation is to ask ourselves, is this fear, or is this some insight that is really trying to surface? We are encouraged not to rush to resolve the doubt that we feel, but to sit long enough to actually learn the lessons that it is here to share with us. We're encouraged to pair our doubt with curiosity rather than anxiety, and to let it guide the refinement of our beliefs and to not just paralyze us. If it's making us stuck or it's causing us to spiral, then it is not divine doubt anymore. It might have started that way, but it has now become overwhelm or fear. And that distinction matters. That distinction matters. The idea of divine doubt is always moving us toward the truth and not away from it. So if doubt leads to disengagement, or if it leads to numbness or to cynicism, then it has lost its sacred function. If it leads to deeper questioning or to authenticity or to sincerity, then it is doing its sacred work. And we should choose to just hang with it a little bit longer. It's less about what we believe and more about how we are able to engage with what we don't know yet. How can we engage with that? The CSL Theme Committee says false certainty can easily become an idol we worship, distracting us from the living, breathing nature of true faith. When we cling to certainty, we convince ourselves that we already know all there is to know, that every answer has been found and every question settled. Yet we know that this is impossible, for life is vast, mysterious, and always unfolding. Certainty closes doors that leaves no room for wonder or for curiosity or growth. Faith, on the other hand, flourishes when we allow ourselves to live with unanswered questions and unresolved tensions. Doubt, then, is not the enemy of faith, but its nourishment. It calls us into active engagement, deep listening, and a willingness to participate fully rather than passively accept everything that is handed down. So, if you think about it, it's not very hard to understand the appeal of certainty, right? So certainty reduces anxiety and it gives us a sense of being in control. A sense of being in control. But that comfort can become dependency. Instead of engaging with reality as it actually is, oftentimes messy, right? Oftentimes unclear, oftentimes complex, oftentimes changing minute by minute. But rather than engaging with reality as it is, we cling to fixed answers because they feel safer. But are they true? The sacred role of doubt is to gently interrupt that illusion that we have arrived at the final answers. Because we know we haven't. We might want to, but we know we haven't. It keeps our beliefs in motion rather than frozen in time. Without doubt, certainty can become rigid, and without any certainty, doubts can become paralyzing. So I think you can see it's the balance. It's the balance between them that really matters. Today we're exploring the relationship of our own self-doubts. And the CSL Theme Committee says self-doubt is normal and healthy part of the human experience, yet we often approach it as a flaw to correct or a weakness to overcome. Self-doubt, like tiredness, hunger, or excitement, is a nearly universal experience that signals something valuable, a moment to pause, to reflect, and perhaps reassess. When we reject or suppress uncomfortable emotions such as self-doubt, we lose the opportunity to understand ourselves deeply and to grow through them. Accepting self-doubt as part of everyday life allows us to honor our full humanity in all of its complexities, embracing both our confidence and our uncertainty as equally important parts of our journey towards wholeness. So just like hunger doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us, self-doubt doesn't automatically mean that we are incapable or that we're walking on the wrong path. It often means that we're stepping into something really significant, or we're stepping outside of our comfort zones into really something that's beyond what's familiar for us, but it doesn't mean that it's right. Or perhaps we're stepping into something that we don't have enough information or skill or clarity yet. Where people run into trouble is misreading the signal. So if we treat hunger as a personal failure, we would either ignore it and suffer, or we would obsess about it and spiral. The healthier move is to interpret and then to respond appropriately. Self-doubt works the same way. Instead of saying to ourselves, woo-hoo, this doubt means that I shouldn't try this. I shouldn't even try it. We're encouraged to reframe it such as, this doubt is perhaps encouraging me to look closer. Self-doubt is just part of how our mind really evaluates risk and growth and meaning. Instead of trying to eliminate that self-doubt entirely, a more useful goal really is to build a working relationship with it, one in which it has a voice, but not the final say. The invitation is to think about self-doubt less like an enemy and more like a cautious advisor. A healthy relationship with self-doubt means that we do not silence it completely, nor do we obey it without question. We're encouraged to acknowledge it by recognizing that something in us is really unsure right now, just doesn't feel completely comfortable, doesn't have a full body yes. Then we're encouraged to do the work to discover what the concern is. Are they based on evidence or are they based on fear? Then and only then can we respond appropriately. Over time, this builds trust because we're not just ignoring the doubts, but we're also not being run over by them. The CSL Theme Committee says when we hide our self-doubt, it tends to fester and grow, feeding a cycle of doubt, isolation, deeper doubt, and even deeper isolation. Self-doubt on its own is not inherently harmful. It's simply a part of being human. What often turns into a source of pain is the secrecy and the shame we attach to it. In spiritual communities where the focus is frequently placed on the positivity and affirmations and only looking for the good, those experiencing doubt may feel they have no safe space to speak openly or seek understanding. This silence can deepen their sense of separation as though their very humanity is at odds with the ideals of the community. By breaking the taboo around doubt, we create spaces where honesty is valued, where vulnerability is met with compassion, and connection can flourish even in uncertainty. It's okay to be uncertain in this community. On its own, self-doubt is manageable. But when we add the layers of, oh, I shouldn't feel like this, or other people don't struggle like I do, or I need to hide this, it stops being just a thought and becomes a private burden that we think we need to handle all on our own. The secrecy makes it worse because when we keep self-doubt hidden, it grows unchecked. Thoughts that aren't examined become exaggerated. What might have been a small, very specific uncertainty turns into a sweeping conclusion about ourselves, and I know you know what I'm talking about. We've probably all done it a time or two in our lives. Without outside input, it's easy to lose perspective and to assume our doubts are uniquely ours when in reality they're extremely common. Extremely. We start to feel like we're the only ones struggling, which reinforces the idea that something's wrong with us. Which reinforces the isolation, which reinforces, right? Ad nauseum. When we're willing to share our doubts and uncertainty, we bring it out into the open. Saying out loud actually begins to shrink it. Hearing others reflect back to us, oh, I know that feeling. I feel that struggle. Recalibrates what's true. We start to see doubt as a shared experience and not a personal deficiency. Even just naming it to ourselves clearly without judgment begins to loosen shame's grip. The The CSL Theme Committee says the way through self-doubt is not to try to banish it, but to meet it without shame, welcoming it as a starting point for exploration, honesty, and vulnerability. When approached in this way, self-doubt can become a doorway to healthy reflection and deeper connection with ourselves and others. Right? Welcoming self-doubt doesn't mean we enjoy it. It means we stop treating it like a threat and start using it as a starting point. Self-doubt has a way of softening the edges of certainty, and while certainty can feel really powerful, it often closes us off. We become less curious. We become less open. We become less connected. And doubt does just the opposite. It creates a and that opening is where a lot of meaningful things can happen. When we're willing to admit uncertainty, even in small ways, we become more relatable. People tend to connect more deeply in the presence of honesty and openness. It creates a space instead of just small surface ones. Today, on Mother's Day, I wanted to take a look at this idea of self-doubt from the backdrop of motherhood. Because as a minister, I am often witness to the challenges and the struggles of mothers. Motherhood and self-doubt are deeply intertwined for a lot of people, partially because being a mother creates a constant mirror. A mirror that every decision or every choice that we make is evidence of who we are or who we think we are. Feeding choices, discipline, work, attention, patience, emotional availability, safety, education. The role carries so much responsibility that uncertainty becomes almost unavoidable. One difficult aspect is that self-doubt in mothers often hides behind competence. A mother can be highly capable and still wonder, am I doing enough? Am I damaging my child without realizing it? Why does this seem easier for everybody else? Who am I outside of taking care of people? That last question matters. Who am I outside of taking care of people? Motherhood can shrink personal identity if every ounce of their energy goes outward. The result is a strange contradiction that someone can be indispensable to others, and yet they feel invisible to themselves. Culture intensifies this. Modern mothers are expected to be endlessly patient, emotionally intelligent, financially responsible, physically healthy, professionally productive, socially present, and grateful all of the time. Now, I'm sure that you noticed that some of those are directly opposing each other. The standards conflict, and yet many women internalize failure when they cannot simultaneously take care of all of it. There's also the emotional burden of being the atmosphere of a home. Many mothers feel responsible not just for tasks, but for everyone's emotional stability. When a child struggles, they may interpret it more as a personal moral failure rather than part of ordinary human development. Comparison is powerful because motherhood is publicly visible but privately experienced. Many mothers tend to see curated moments from others, right? And compare them to their own exhausted, unfiltered reality. Oops. The challenge is that many mothers underestimate how meaningful ordinary acts are. The repeated and repeated and repeated meals, rides home, listening while distracted, trying again after losing patience, and a zillion others. Stability is built from accumulation more than flawless moments. Again and again and again, those moments. Another overlooked piece is grief. Some mothers grieve versions of themselves that they had to abandon. Others grieve the mothering they never received and tried to invent it from scratch for their own children. That can make every mistake feel historically loaded. And then there's the silence around ambivalence. A mother can love her children fiercely and still miss solitude. Can love her children fiercely and still miss freedom. Can love her children fiercely and still miss spontaneity. Can love her children fiercely and still miss earlier identities. Those feelings often produce guilt, which, you guessed it, feeds more self-doubt. On the other side of the coin, a completely unquestioning parent, mother, may miss opportunities to grow. The challenge is really being able to distinguish reflective doubt, which would say, how can I improve? From corrosive doubt, which says, I am fundamentally failing. Emotions, right? Conflicting emotions are normal when living out intense human roles, such as being a mother. They're normal. Doubts are normal. The CSL Theme Committee says each of us are manifestations of the one perfect and complete divine. Each of us also are human and have the privilege of exploring divine perfection in human incarnation with all of its messiness. Self-doubt is a normal and expected part of this experience, not something to be ashamed of or hide away. Self-doubt gives us the opportunity to explore our doubts and curiosities deeply. And by leaning into it, instead of trying to gloss it over, we may find ourselves more certain of who we are in the end. So the bottom line for each of us, whether we are a mother or not, is that doubt is not the opposite of faith. It is the very ground in which faith takes root and grows. The very ground. By exploring our doubts, we are able to walk our spiritual path more fully and infinitely more powerful. So today I affirm for each of us that our self-doubts are the starting block to something really, really magnificent. And so it is. And so it is. Oh, so I just invite everyone to close your outer eyes if you're comfortable in doing so. And to allow ourselves to take a deep breath, a deep collective breath to anchor all of these words and sentiments and Karen's opening song, to turn our attention away from the world of form for a moment and to allow our attention and intention to flow to the center of our being, to that space and place that I call God. To know that it is the very essence of unconditional love, of peace, of joy, of wisdom, of creativity, of grace, the grace that Karen sang about. I know that I am one with this power and presence. It is that which created me. Right where I am, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness. And just as I know that this is true for me, I know that it is true for everyone here in the sanctuary today, all people watching in real time, and everybody that may watch this later. In fact, I'm not even going to stop there. All sentient beings on the planet. We are all connected to each other through that golden thread of God stuff. And it is from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today, truly knowing that this idea of doubt, and more specifically this idea of self-doubt, is not something to hide away or to shrink away from, but to recognize that it is a powerful aspect on our spiritual path, that it allows us to not stay stuck in beliefs that we may or may not have chosen for ourselves, but to allow new ideas, new wisdom, new understanding, fresh perspectives to shift us, to grow us, to transform us, to bring us to a higher understanding of God and life and our place within it. And so I claim ease and grace for each of us around letting go of any guilt that we might be harboring, letting go of any shame that we might be feeling around this idea of doubt. No, as we let it go, we ourselves up to a new way of being in the world, a way of being that is less anxious, less fearful, less conflicted, less troublesome, and now is fully open and alive. And welcoming to everything that we are feeling. And to know that as we do the inner work, to take a look at that, to figure out the concern, that we can bring it up to be healed. We can shine a light of healing upon and move forward and upward. I'm so grateful to know this truth and just words, so for the power of prayer. And that these words are loosed into a law that I ever says yes. That my words are clothed in form, even in air, and so I speak them and I root them into that law, letting go and God be God. I invite everyone to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. Thank you all. Living sustained by the giving of our time. This is the time every week when we offer financial support
mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. I must be myself, respect my truth. A different dreamer is not a sin. Believe in capital H-I-M. I'm beautiful in my way. God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret. Just love yourself and you're set. Baby, you're born this way. No matter what lesbian, just the life you're on. Baby, what's the life? It's you're on the right track. You were born to be brave. You're the way is God.
That was just so fabulous and so fun. And during the meditation, I was talking about people who have mothering energy, even if they never have physically had children. And so let's have another round of applause for Karen for mothering us musically today and for so many years now. All right. Okay. So now we're going to do our affirmations. So I invite everybody to rise up. And these are not just words, these are intentions. And so it's the energy that you put into it that it does the magic. Okay? It's a call and response. So I'll go first and then you all repeat it. All right. I understand that doubt is not a flaw to be hidden away, but a natural part of being human. I understand that doubt is not a flaw to be hidden away, but a natural part of being human. Therefore, I choose to lean into my doubts as a place of vulnerability, honesty, and authenticity. Therefore, I choose to lean into my doubts. What? Oh, the mic isn't working? Okay. All right, I get it. Okay, let's see. By doing so, I strengthen my faith and keep my beliefs alive, flexible, and evolving. By doing so, I strengthen my faith and keep my beliefs alive, flexible, and evolving. Today, I vow to begin to use my self-doubt as a starting block to healthy reflection and a deeper connection with myself and others. Today, I vow to begin to use my self-doubt as a starting block to healthy reflection and a deeper connection with myself and others. All is well. All is well. And so it is. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, you can sit down if you care to. And I'm going to do a final benediction for today's service. And I don't know, that was such a fun song. It was so uplifting. And that's my experience of this entire service is it's so uplifting to be told it's okay. It's okay not to have it together. It's okay to wonder and to doubt. It's okay because we are spiritual beings living in a human physical context. And that's the way life is. And I love that life. And yet I know that in my core, I am divine wisdom. And I am divine love. And I'm so grateful that I'm one of many who've been able to manifest that divine love through the pathway of motherhood. And, you know, I believe that these doubts, in the end, make us wiser and stronger and more powerful. And that's the kind of spiritual angels we need in the world this day, as we work towards our goal of a world that works for everyone. So dealing with doubt is going to be part of that pathway. So I am just so grateful for everybody's participation today. I'm so grateful for the message, for the music, for the camaraderie. And I know that today's service lifts us up, not just individually and not just as a community, but as a planet. Because every drop that goes into the ocean makes the ocean that much higher. So let's go forth today with our motherhood love and energy and enthusiasm and transform our own lives in the world. And so it is. Amen.
Yes. So I echo Carol's thank you to Heather, to Carol, to the awesome Karen Daly, and to each and every single one of you. Thank you to Rebecca for all that she does whenever we're here. I really appreciate all of that. And to Amy for doing the announcements. And to all of the people that are out there. Know that they're here. Know that I'll see some of you later today. Wise Women's Tea. So come on. Parking spaces with no numbers for those of you that are coming. Other than that, I love you all. Have a great week. We'll see you next week online only.